Welcome back to the Product Biz Podcast. My name is Monica Little, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Laura from the Necklace Studio. She is one of my Product Biz Academy members who I've had the pleasure of working with over the last year, maybe year and a half now. And she has just grown so much with her business, personally, professionally. She has been such an awesome member of the community that thought I would bring her on just so you guys can hear from her experience, how her business has grown, and what she's really been up to. So, welcome, Laura, to the Product Biz Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Monica. I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. So, why don't we start with you just telling everyone what you do, your business? Give us an intro.
So my business is called the Necklace Studio, and I make hand knotted using silk thread gemstone beaded necklaces. So they're put together with knots between each bead, and I use genuine gemstones in all their beauty and with all their inclusions and their special properties.
And her necklaces are absolutely gorgeous. They are so stunning. You guys have to follow her on Instagram, check her out, the Necklace Studio, and see what her necklaces look like. And I think what's interesting too is the price point of your necklaces. So tell me about that.
So they vary from about 300 and it's priced per length, up to about 650 for very long ones. And then I do have some higher end gemstones and the prices sort of go up from there. And I mix and match. I put all types of gemstones into one necklace to make it sort of interesting.
Yes, and I love this too because I mean it's a higher priced product. A lot of people who are probably listening to the podcast sell products that are maybe 20, 25, 30, 50 per product, and you're saying 300 to 650 plus. So that's awesome to hear because you've had some great success even with a higher ticket, higher price point product, which is fantastic. Because we're going to talk a little bit about how a lot of people think you have to be the cheapest in order to be successful when we have proof with you right here that you can actually have a higher price product and see great results. So before we dive into that, I actually want you to share with us, where were you before you joined a Product Biz Academy? Because you have a pretty interesting story of having a separate business with a business partner and how that went. So tell me more about that.
So before I joined Product Biz Academy, started a little bit before COVID. I went into business with another woman who's a jewelry designer and maker, and she did most of the making, I did most of the designing. We did a lot of gold pieces and a lot of beaded pieces, and we kind of started out with a little bit of a plan, but not too much. We sort of got a lot of advice from various people, and she wanted to do a lot of markets. I was very happy doing internet, but we didn't really have a roadmap of where we should be going. And eventually it just didn't work. And I really wanted to make more of the product myself as well. So she went off and does amazing beadwork on her own. And I decided maybe it was time for me to try something on my own and make, because that's what I really wanted to do. I really wanted to make something. And then I started with you, and I think it was a year and a half ago, and I thought I should start on Etsy. I wasn't really sure. It was a very saturated market. I wasn't really sure that my price point was going to work, but I thought, let's try it because it's a perfect place to start.
And I want to dive into the Etsy story too, because it's a beautiful story that you have to share. And before we do that, I want to elaborate on a couple of things that you said and ask you a couple more questions. So you said that you really didn't want to do markets and you wanted to do more of selling online. So just tell me more about that. What about that drew you in, or why didn't you want to do markets?
So I'm somebody who's very shy and has a lot of social anxiety. And this digital world really appeals to me as to, this market that's out there that's, so much larger than being in person in markets. And I get very nervous and I have a hard time talking to people. And I thought, well, this is perfect for me, doing it this way and not doing markets. And I could reach more people in that way. And it's really funny because it's also one of the reasons why I love necklaces. Like when I'm nervous in situations and my hands need something to do, I've always like fiddled with my necklace around my neck, and it sort of calms me down a little bit. And I guess a little bit like almost maybe like a rosary, even though I'm not religious, where you just sort of it's very tactile, and it's calming for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, so this was just something that I thought, let's try this. And yeah, that's what I decided to do, is really try to do it all online, all digital.
Yeah, and I love hearing your train of thought there too, because I think a lot of people can relate. And I think there's also people on the inverse. I know for me, same, like I'm an introvert. You would call yourself an introvert?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's how I am myself too. So I would do markets, however, they would drain me. So
Mhm.
I love how you were like, I know where my energy is best, and I want to learn how to sell my products online. Because I think there's a lot of people who did what I did, which is markets drain me, but I'm going to still do them, and I'm going to be so drained, I'm going to be so burnt out, I'm going to be exhausted because all that physical interaction, although it's great to talk to your customers, it can be really draining and it can be pretty tough, especially week after week. So I love hearing how you from the start had a vision of your business of I want to do what lights me up. I want to do what I'm drawn towards. I want to do what has the biggest impact. And I want to do what plays to my strengths and also is going to be fun for me, which was selling more of your products online, which I think is a beautiful story to hear. Now, with Etsy, can you share with us a little bit? You have this higher priced product, 300 to 650 plus. Can you share a little bit about your stats of how many orders and sales and dollars you have sold on Etsy?
So I've been doing this for a year and a half, and on Etsy, I have 59 sales and about $22,000 in total sales from the past year and a half, which is amazing. I sort of assumed that with the higher price point and the saturated market that that wasn't possible, but it made sense to me, having a handmade product, to begin the journey with Etsy. Um,
Absolutely. I think that's like those are insane results. Because specifically for Etsy, people think, oh, I have to be the cheapest. I have to be the one that's lower price than everyone else because everyone is price competing. Everyone is trying to outcompete others and undercut each other. And we got proof from you here. Like, cool, it can happen with a higher price product. So tell me a little bit more about why you think you have had such great success on Etsy.
Well, I think that this time around, learning from the previous partnership, is I knew I needed help. And I'm one of those people who has, in my life, it's like, oh, if there's a challenge, then you figure it out yourself. But this time I knew that, the little bit of help from a friend, or the little bit of advice this way, wasn't quite enough for me to do this. And I knew there was a lot of information out there online. And I thought, if I could find the right person and the right sort of roadmap, and step by step go through this, that I thought I could, get somewhere. I didn't know what was going to happen, but sort of Etsy was the place, and finding the help on Etsy. And that was when I discovered you. I think I probably was talking about it on my phone, and you popped up from it listening. But I was very happy that that happened, and you had what I was looking for, is sort of that guide of starting at the beginning, and clicking all the boxes and covering all the bases, and um getting started. And that's what I did a year and a half ago.
Beautiful. Now, in addition to Etsy, you've also had some other great success. Like you have your products in two stores. How many followers do you have on Instagram now?
Almost 3,500.
Almost 3,500, which is fantastic. You have your own website, you're getting website orders coming in. You have awesome customers who are like coming back and buying multiple pieces from you. You also have people who are requesting custom pieces. So you've built this beautiful business that is thriving in so many different ways, from website, Instagram, Etsy, being in stores. Tell me a little bit more about your experience in Product Biz Academy and what has helped you to grow your business in this way? And that's a super open-ended question, so I'm going to see where you want to take this.
I'm gonna go. Um, it was a lot of it. Some of it was starting from the beginning, because I'd had a previous business, but it was really a good refresher. And I felt like all the information was very up to date. And when I went through the modules and I put everything in place, the more I did, the more possibility I could see up ahead. Just thought, this really is going to work. And if I follow all these steps, I've got, nothing to lose. It's all good information, and it's what I needed to do. So
Mhm.
it was sort of like having a little person on my shoulder, encouraging me, and helping me along the way. And it just once I did everything, I also got very excited. Like when I would complete a task and move forward. And when I opened my Etsy shop, I remember I got late at night, I got my first like somebody followed, liked a necklace, and I was just so excited. And that feeling was great. And I was like, okay, I want more of this. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to do all the things that need, that I need to do, like set myself apart and elevate my product and my listings. And it really all fell into place. It was very exciting.
Hmm. Do you feel that you treat your business more like a real business ever since you joined Product Biz Academy? Was there anything there with like, okay, cool, I'm in it. This is it. I'm gonna put in the work when you joined PBA?
Definitely. And that's what I knew at the get-go, that this was something I really wanted to do. I really wanted to, maybe because the previous one didn't really go anywhere, that this time I was going to make it work, and this was going to be a business. And there's always things that you find that you think, oh, I have to do that, or I don't really want to, but I know I need to. And that's when it went up a notch for me, when I was like, this is a serious business. These are all the things you have to know. These are all the things you have to do. And you just have to move forward and do it. And slow and steady, you just have to get it done. And I think that the course also helped me, just feel more confident about how to do it, with knowing that there was a community, and that there was a coach, there was you behind it. It just made all the difference to help me move ahead.
Yeah, I love hearing that. And it's been awesome to see too when you say building confidence, because I feel like there's been a little bit of a shift too, just from the first time you and I had a one-on-one call and having this conversation with you now and knowing you for the last year and a half. So, how have things shifted for you, maybe on a personal level?
Just, I think all these milestones with the business, and even from something little of like, oh, I took a picture, and you know I I posted something on Instagram, and my first caption when I first started Instagram, because I'd really spent a lot of time on Instagram. I joined when it first started, but I didn't really use it. That feeling of, oh, I can do this, of, this is doable. And the more that happened, the more I realized that I could gain the confidence and keep going, and
Mhm.
not beat myself up about anything, and feel better. And just like any skill, I think, when you practice and you just keep doing it, you do get better, you feel better, and you feel
Mhm.
better about what you're doing. And then full circle, it just, the whole thing, you know, works.
Mhm. And I love what you said of building belief in yourself, because I think that's a huge part of it, is showing up, doing the work, and then that belief starts to grow. And I think where a lot of people get stuck is they may not have the accountability to show up, and then their belief in themselves doesn't grow because they're not having the support or the accountability, or they're running in circles, or they don't know what to focus on. They're doing the same things over and over. So I love hearing you explain how that belief in yourself and that confidence, and to continue to like put each brick down, right? And then before
Yeah.
you know it, you got a beautiful home, you got a beautiful mansion from all the work that you've been doing, which is so awesome to see. So tell me a little bit more, because you came to the Product Biz Academy in-person event that was a couple months ago in March. So very open-ended question: how was your experience at that event?
It was great. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, if it was business related. But one of the main reasons I went is because I felt like the women that I had been working with on Zoom over the last year and a half, I really wanted to meet them in person, because they're an important part of this whole process. Even if you're, not always, chiming in on Facebook, on our, in our community, that they're there. And there's something very comforting about that. Knowing these people are out there doing the same thing that you're doing. They're, from a different perspective. If you have a question, they are more than happy to help and give, and vice versa. So it was really nice to come together, and then see that, so many people are at different stages, but going through similar things that you went through. And I just love that we went into all the things that are holding us back, which of course everybody has. And it was good to sort of talk about those things, especially in a group. I run through all those things in my head all the time, but to be able to talk about it in a group scenario really makes it um real, and almost less powerful in a way. And you
Mm.
can start to overcome it.
Ooh, I love what you said about how it becomes less powerful, like the challenges and roadblocks that we have when you're able to be in a group of people and see that other people are going through the same stuff. Instead of it making it bigger and more scary, it's like, oh, okay, other people are going through this. I'm also going through it. So maybe it's not as big and monumental as scary as I'm making it seem because it seems like a normal thing that we're all working through and going through. So I love hearing that because that was one of the main things with in-person event. It's like, let's get everyone together who's been on Zoom, who sees each other in these little squares a couple times per month on the computer and actually get to meet each other in person. Because I truly believe that when you have a community of people around you, that can do so much growth and benefit to your business versus sitting at home by yourself every single day, like you're on a lonely island, deserted, not knowing who to turn to. So I love hearing your experience of coming all the way to Scottsdale and hanging out with everyone, which was so much fun and such an awesome time for me. I can't wait to have the next one and see how that one goes too. Okay, question I have for you. This is going to be
Mhm.
a little bit introspective.
Okay.
Where do you think your business would be right now today if you didn't sign up for Product Biz Academy a year and a half ago? Like, what do you think you'd be experiencing? What kind of growth do you think you'd be at?
I think it would be a lot slower. I think I would be struggling as to what to do, next and next and next. And I think I would be really unsure about what I was doing and whether I was doing the right thing. I think I'd really be second guessing myself without the support. And also working by myself, in this capacity, which a lot of us are doing at home or without maybe necessarily employees. I think it's just it wouldn't be as I wouldn't have moved forward as much without other like-minded people sort of doing it alongside with me, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
um so I just I can't imagine. I don't even I can't even imagine how far I'd be. I know I wouldn't be as far as I am now. I know that for certain because I'm the kind of person who needs a little, needs that roadmap and needs those steps in order to do it. And I will follow those steps and I will do it. But sometimes making up the steps on my own, I wouldn't do them in the right order, or I wouldn't think about the certain things, and that's where you and the community have really come in to, remember this and don't forget about this and think about this and just I can't I be lost, totally lost.
Mhm. That brings up my next question. So, obviously, when joining Product Based Academy to help with all of those things, right? To give you a roadmap, to have a community, to know what to focus on, to know that you're focusing on the right things, to help you grow, all basically the inverse of everything that you said, right? That Product Biz Academy has helped with. One of the biggest things that people struggle with is, well, yeah, but it's a big investment. So when you were enrolling in Product Biz Academy, what was your train of thought as to weighing the investment versus what you would get out of it, or just what was going through your head when you were about to sign up?
That's a good question. I mean, I do think, you have to spend money to make money. I've always known that. And I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure, am I picking the right one? Because there are a lot of people out there that do this. But I just felt like with all the pieces and parts and all the modules and being up to date and all the other services that are part of it, the validation and the making sure you got your work done and the one-on-ones, I started adding it up and sort of, thinking it through. And I thought, well, this is good, really good value for the money. And this is something that I think I couldn't have done my business without. Like, I really think it's almost like, I don't even know. It's like, you need your supplies, and this is a supply that is integral to the business and wouldn't move forward without it. So I just it's almost like more important than the product in a way because it's about the business. And that's what I needed to know. I know how to do the product, I know how to do that, but all the other pieces and parts of it, which there are a lot of, I didn't know enough about them. I'd
Mm,
read things here and there, but it was one package, and that was worth it to me, worth every penny.
yeah. That's such a good way to explain it, and I love hearing it from your words, and I think what's interesting is something that we talk about in Product Biz Academy a lot, which is a famous Nike quote, "You can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it, what good is it?" So what you're saying is exactly it. Like making the product cool. We're experts at that. We know our craft, and that's why we started our business. But the coaching side on how to actually learn branding and marketing and selling, if that's not your area of expertise, or to know what to work on next. So you're not running in circles. So you have a plan. So you know you're doing what will get you to the next step. That is like, that's what makes a business to be able to grow. So it's awesome to
Right.
hear how you explain that, which is
And to
gonna,
have a business from, perspective from somebody who's already been through it. That's, you're really, you're picking the brain of somebody who is, and learning from somebody who's done it all. Not, when you start out, you need that help. You progress faster that way if you
Mhm.
have that kind of expertise.
I love it. All right. Final question I'm going to ask you, which maybe correlates with what we were just talking about. But what would you say to someone who's on the fence right now of joining Product Biz Academy? What words of advice would you give them?
I would say that if this is something you're passionate about and you want to do, that this should be your first step. Because nothing can happen to your business really without all of this, unless, like we all think, oh, we'll make a website and people will come. It doesn't work that way. And you have to, if you don't already know, I'm sure a lot of people know bits and pieces of this, but I don't know that if anybody knows it all, they're probably already successful in business. So there's always those parts that you have to learn. And I just think you can't work on your business without all that information. And I think you do yourself a disservice by not working with somebody who knows all this. I don't know. I can't say enough about it, how much it's really helped me get to where I am right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Laura. That means a lot. It's been so awesome having you in Product Biz Academy. Laura's like the brightest light, always positive, always has so much good things to say, and just comes like enthusiastic and has questions. And that's really what makes someone excel in Product Biz Academy. It's you do the work, which is exactly what you do, Laura. You show up with positive energy because running a business is tough. So if you can show up with a positive mindset, it's going to make it so much easier. And you keep showing up every single day in that way. So that's exactly what you've done, which has led to some awesome results. And it's been so, so great working with you. Now, before we wrap, I want to say thank you for your time. And also, please share with us where people can find you, Instagram, website. Tell us where people can go.
Instagram is my, main outlet. It's the Necklace Studio. I also have a website www.thenecklacestudio.com, and on Etsy it's the Necklace Studio, but it's the Necklace Studio Co. because Necklace Studio was taken. But those
Awesome.
are three places you can find me and follow along on my adventure.
Yes, and Laura has incredible Instagram content. Like I mentioned at the beginning, beautiful necklaces, beautiful gemstone necklaces. She's fabulous at Instagram. So if you need Instagram ideas, definitely come on over to her Instagram. She's looking at me like I'm crazy. No, Laura, I really do. I think you are so incredible at Instagram. So she's a great person to follow along for ideas and just stop by and say hello and let her know you listened to this episode. So thank you so much, Laura, for being here. And thank you too for listening to this episode of the Product Biz podcast.
Thank you for having me.